4th of July, election day. Everyone is talking about the elections. Doesn't matter what your background is, doesn't matter what your language is, it doesn't matter what your religion is, doesn't matter where you come from in the UK. Everyone is speaking about the elections. Your country needs you. Who are you voting for? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace be upon you, and thank you for joining me today. Just some words regarding the election. The question everyone is asking at the moment is, who are you voting for? Labour, Conservatives, Liberal Democrats, the Green Party, the Reform Party. It's a strange one, the Reform Party. Do you remember UKIP? Nigel Farage was involved then as well. And the mess they made of Brexit, it brought more harm to the UK than to stay within Brexit. And now you have the Reform Party. It's a strange makeup, really, of the candidates of this particular party. It's strange though, isn't it? How Nigel Farage, every time he puts a party together, he always attracts bigots, fascists, racist type people. Why is that exactly? Oh, and to make it all nice and plausible for everyone, they might stick a brown person here and there or a black person here and there and say, we're not racist. This week alone, we have seen how so-called candidates or representatives of the Reform Party have come out and spoke about, have you seen them? We should take our guns down there or something like that and have a target practice and shoot those inflatables and kill those people. It's a strange thing of those that are associated to such a party. What about the BNP? We don't hear much about them nowadays. But when the British National Party was around, it was the same sort of rhetoric. Maybe kind of toned down and changed when it came to Nick Griffin. But its principles were based all upon one situation, one focus: the bloody immigrants. Why are we always talking about immigration? Why is immigration such a major problem? What is the percentage of immigrants living in the UK today? Why do those racists, those uneducated people who don't have any jobs themselves, always running after immigrants? Immigrants have been coming to this country for hundreds of years. It's nothing new. In fact, if you look at the immigrants and what they brought for the UK, has been nothing but financial goodness. When the immigrants open shops for their particular community, what are they doing? They're raising the economy for the UK. I invite you racists, you bigots, you uneducated people who live outside of these particular cities where there's a large immigrant population, go there. Go to London. Go to the north, east, south and the west of London, where you will find those immigrant population. And you tell me, are they thriving or not? Are they working hard or not? Are their businesses thriving? Of course they are. They are not the ones that are sitting on the couch, drinking lager all day and screaming and shouting, watching UEFA or the World Cup, getting drunk and making a mockery of themselves, causing trouble in the streets just because England lost one match. And we're going to see what's going to happen if England are kicked out of the UEFA Cup. Watch those people who speak up against the immigrants come out pour out into the streets and watch the chaos that they bring. But why is the question? Why is the focus always on immigration? Look at Starmer and how he's come out and spoke up about Bangladeshis in this country. Wow. Do you realize that some of the richest people in this country are from South Asia, from India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, surprisingly? And they're not rich because of the fact that they just sat home drinking lager all day and doing nothing. They're rich because they worked, they had businesses, they paid their taxes. In fact, you lagerlout sitting at home, crying and screaming about the bloody immigrants in this country, remember one thing, is that Asian, that black person, that African that is working hard in his businesses, in her businesses, and paying the taxes and paying for you to sit at home doing nothing at all. But the irony really is on people like Tommy Robinson, where right now he's been held in Canada, and how the tables have turned. Because this guy now, apparently, don't know all the legal stuff, but apparently is being held on immigration violation. Immigration violation. One of the rallying cries around the elections has been, obviously, Gaza. Palestine has been at the forefront of this election. We've seen many of those members of parliament that abstained from the vote to call for a ceasefire in Palestine, in Gaza, And a lot of them now have changed their stance on Gaza. But do you really honestly believe that your vote is going to change the situation in Gaza? Do you honestly believe that your voting for those particular candidates that might be pro-Palestinian, or those weren't necessarily pro-Palestinian, but now those candidates, those MPs are out there, or gonna be candidates, are out there making their plea, making their case that they're going to do a lot more for Palestine? It will not change the policy of the British government. That's what you've got to remember if you're thinking about voting, participating in this election for Gaza. Only a few days ago, the UK government, in brackets, the Conservative Party, the Conservative government, has intervened at the ICC regarding the arrest warrant for Netanyahu and his cronies. And you would think, why would you do such a thing when the ICC was set up to investigate genocide, and now they are satisfied people like Netanyahu should be arrested and he should be tried for the alleged crimes committed in Gaza. Yet the UK Conservative government has decided to go and intervene at the ICC. Some things that I've read have said they are intervening and saying you have no jurisdiction in Israel, but you only have jurisdiction upon Hamas, which doesn't even make sense, because the ICC have jurisdiction upon countries that have signed up, and maybe not necessarily signed up, but Hamas is not a country. Their fighters are not a country. So how can the ICC jurisdiction apply on them? But anyhow, there's an arrest warrant out for the Hamas leaders as well. So just remember that if you're thinking about voting or participating in voting, what we're going to witness right now is all those candidates that are pro-Palestinian, they're going to start getting suspended suddenly. They're going to get removed from the rat race of being elected as members of parliament in the UK. Already they're starting smear campaigns against certain particular members of parliament. And the reality is, do you honestly believe that your vote is going to help the situation in Gaza and Palestine. As an example, organization named AIPAC in the United States has been donating, or should I really say indirectly bribing, members of Congress, been providing, donating, bribing money to the Democrats and to the Republicans, millions and millions. And we know how members of Parliament of the UK were given thousands of pounds to visit Israel on a regular basis. Not just recently, not since October the 7th, but even prior to October the 7th. You have organizations such as Labour Friends of Israel or of the Conservative Friends of Israel, etc. Okay, so these people have been doing what exactly? They have been indirectly donating funds to these particular members of parliament, taking them to Israel, showing them around. And what do you actually think is going to happen in return? Are they doing it just for the sake of doing it? Or is there a reason behind it? Let's focus on another situation, and that is the Muslim vote. Now, this might not apply to you because you may not be a Muslim, but hear me out. I still want you to listen to this. I still want you to understand why this has become such an issue for the Muslims. Now, how many Muslims are there in this country? 2, 3, 4 million? Many of them are converts to Islam. Many of them are white, English, Scottish, Welsh, Irish. And now they are having a chance to vote or participate in the elections. There are many Muslims that are too young to vote, so they can't be a part of the elections. But there are many Muslims like myself, born in London, second generation. The Muslim community has been living here since around the 1940s, 1950s. So how many generations is that going to be in right now? For me and my family, I'm second generation, my children are the third generation. But there are other families that have 3, 4, 5, up to 6 generations of the same Muslim family. And many of them, their mother tongue, they can't even speak. So what language do they speak then? English. So I just had a thought. I just remembered something actually. I was listening to some, I don't know what they are. They're not candidates, but representatives of the Reform Party, or those that are promoting the Reform Party around from the Clacton-on-Sea area. By the way, I've been to Clacton-on-Sea. Nice place. Never had any issues, no problems there. The way I am, people are quite nice to me. But you always get one or two uneducated, idiotic people. And this lady was saying, you don't know, they're ruling by Sharia law in London or other parts of the UK. Now, as a Muslim living in London, born in London, please tell me, I beg you to tell me, where are these Muslim areas where they are implementing Sharia? Because I would love to live under Sharia. I will move tomorrow if you can just direct me to the area where they implement the Sharia law. Firstly, you uneducated person, you don't know what Sharia law is. So study, investigate, ask people. Come to me if you really want to know about Sharia law. Go to your local mosque. I'm sure there's a mosque in Clacton, and if not, there must be a mosque close by Clacton. Southend-on-Sea, there's plenty of mosques. Go there, speak to the imam there, and ask them, what is Sharia law? Do you honestly believe Sharia law can be implemented in a secular, Christian, democratic country side by side with this country? It doesn't work like that. Seriously, you need to think about this and the things that you are saying and the things that you are promoting and you have no proof of. Anyhow, going back to the Muslim vote now. So many Muslims now are struggling to understand how and why we should not participate in the elections. Well, For the Muslim, I say there are many ulama, scholars, Islamic scholars here in the UK, in London and other parts of the UK that have given their fatwa. Now, any non-Muslims that are listening, fatwa is really just an Islamic decree. It doesn't mean anything else. It doesn't mean it's a declaration of war. Fatwa, an Islamic decree. So some of the Islamic scholars have given a fatwa that it is permissible. It is mubah to vote. Others have said that in necessity, you can vote for those people that will bring benefit for the Muslim community in the UK. Then you have another set of scholars that have said that it is haram. You are sinful if you vote and participate in a democratic system. And another group of scholars that will say it is kufr, meaning that you have committed a major situation in Islam where it could bring you outside the fold of Islam and you are no longer a Muslim. But then there are ulama, scholars, that say it is wajib to vote. To vote, it is wajib, obligatory. If you don't vote, you are going to be sinful. But we live in a country, we live under a system, the so-called democratic system, which gives us a choice to vote or not to vote. All I'm really going to say to you guys here is you as a Muslim need to make up your mind. And you need to be comfortable in the choice that you're going to make. Are you of those people that say it is permissible to vote or it's wajib to vote? Then who are you going to vote for? Because the only way you're going to be able to vote for the right person is if the Muslim community comes together and votes, like they call block voting or strategic voting. Vote for the right person. Is that really going to happen? I mean, we've seen the chaos amongst the independents in the UK, how some of them are dropping out to allow others to have a chance. But really and truly, are they going to be able to make that impact? But remember, the two major parties in the UK, the Labour Party and the Conservatives, both have a criminal record. The first invasion of Iraq in the 90s. The second invasion of Iraq in the 2000s. The invasion of Afghanistan. The invasion of Libya. Look at the chaos that has come out of it. Look at the chaos that has come to the UK because of these invasions. And who were they conducted by? The two major parties, Labour and Conservatives. So I ask the question again, who are you really going to vote for? And does the Muslim count? And will the Muslim vote count next week? So however you want it, just remember, be comfortable with the choice that you make. That if you believe it is permissible to vote, or you don't believe it's permissible to vote. What will happen after the 4th of July? Well, it's all going to fizzle away. All those candidates, all those elected MPs, doesn't matter which party you're from, are going to go into the parliament and they'll be screaming and shouting. They'll be speaking about the honourable person here and the honourable person there. And guess what really is going to happen? Really and truly. And guess what is really going to happen? Most probably, they're just going to forget about Gaza and forget about Palestine. And it's all going to be put to bed. And they're going to say there's more important things for us to think about and to do, like the economy of the UK. Well, if that's the case, you're so concerned about the economy of the UK, why are you supplying millions and millions of pounds to arm Ukraine against Russia. Why are you so desperate to start a fight with Russia? Come on, let's be honest. Why are you getting involved? Do you really believe Russia is going to invade the UK? My last point here is really about the media. The Western media screams and shouts and champions about being impartial. But we know impartiality is a real difficult thing when it comes to Western media. And we've seen it. We've seen what's been going on, how the attitude of some media outlets have changed from October until now when it comes to the issue of Gaza and Palestine, towards immigration, towards Muslims. And the famous one we know is GBN. It's like the Fox News of the UK. They talk so much rubbish, which is unbelievable. And without bringing too much attention to themselves, they are pushing certain parties, which they shouldn't be. They are pushing for the support of certain people, certain politicians, which they really shouldn't be, because they're supposed to be impartial. But the mistake that we all make is as soon as we receive some sort of news and we attribute it to those particular news outlets, we want to send it around immediately without checking it, without investigating it ourselves. So please, before you send a forwarded message, check that it is reliable. Actually, I have one final point. If we as Muslims don't want to involve ourselves or participate in the elections, then how can we have some sort of standing in the UK? Well, our forefathers have been here now and passed away, buried here in the UK, 4, 5 generations, as I have mentioned before, maybe even 6 generations. And there wasn't a massive need for all of them to participate. In fact, I just had a thought. A lot of so-called Muslim MPs in this country, majority of them did not vote for a ceasefire in Gaza. So it kind of says it all. Are these Muslim MPs really there to support the Muslim community and support the Muslim community and be there for their needs, or are they there for their personal reasons? Let's think about that. So what can we do if we don't want to participate in the elections as Muslims, as the Muslim community? There is still a lot we can do. We can apply pressure. We can apply political pressure. Look at the way the communities have come together in the UK. We all witness. I was a part of one of the major demonstrations, protests in London. Thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people there. Non-Muslims, Muslims, Arabs, non-Arabs, South Asians, Western people, white, black, Muslim, Jews, many Jews were there, Christians, priests, rabbis, all there in support, in calling for a ceasefire in Gaza, in calling for political action from the government for Gaza. That's one type of pressure that you can use, political pressure. Boycotting is a fantastic, workable pressure also. Now, boycotting can only work if the communities come together, if there is a united stand in boycotting particular agencies, particular organizations, particular businesses that are in support of Israel. We heard Puma. Now, I don't know if that's 100%, but Puma apparently have stated that they will no longer be supplying, I believe, one of the Israeli a football team or a sports team. And others have pulled out. Apparently, Samsung have pulled out from, or planning to pull out of, Israel as well. So boycott can work. And the pressure, the continual pressure, the physical pressure that we have seen. And what do I mean by that? Look at the encampments in the Western universities from the US to UK to Australia and other places. They have had impact. There has been an encampment outside Hackney Town Hall. And only the other day I was reading in the newspaper, the leader of Hackney Council has agreed that they will take action now with their council workers' pensions not to be involved in Israeli companies. Apparently they have also removed the Israeli flag from the leader's office. So it is having an impact, and you don't have to participate in the election to help Gaza. So it's a mighty task for you as an individual now to make that decision, that conscious decision. Are you going to vote or are you not going to vote? And being a Muslim, you have to make that choice as well, and you have to make that decision as well. From Quran and Sunnah, are you 100% in believing it is the right thing to do? Are you following the fatwa of a certain alim or ulama, scholars in this country, that it's wajib to vote or it's permissible to vote? Or are you just blindly following their fatwa? Or do you actually believe from your heart that this is the right thing to do? And to those that believe it is prohibited, then it is something, a wajib upon you to let others know. But remember, as a Muslim, you can only advise others. There is no point in arguing and debating just for the sake of it if no one's going to listen to you. And if somebody follows a certain verdict, an Islamic scholarly verdict, and they are 100% sure about it and they have no doubts about it, then leave it to them, because it will be between them and Allah. So with these thoughts and with all this information, please come back to me, discuss with me, leave your comments below and let me know what you think, and let me know your views, and direct me to other people's views or even the scholarly type of articles or their fatawas, their decrees, so we can discuss it more. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you and forgive me, and I'll see you next time. Wa jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.